to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hogue, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
Hello, I'm AJ Hogue, the author of Effortless English. Learn to speak English like a native. Father of the effortless English system that trains you, that teaches you, that helps you. Speak English fluently. Speak English powerfully. Speak English confidently. Speak English effortlessly. Effortlessly. Effortlessly when you commit, don't quit, commit to my VIP program. Today, go to effortlessenglishclub.com, effortlessenglishclub.com, effortlessenglishclub.com. That's where you commit, don't quit. You will succeed. You will get these results. How do I know? Because many other VIP members have also succeeded, and you will too. When you commit to my VIP program today at effortlessenglishclub.com, effortlessenglishclub.com. Live on Facebook today. Hope you enjoyed. Yesterday's show was audio only podcast yesterday. So if you have a podcast app, if you subscribe to my audio podcast, then you got yesterday's show. You got it. But if you don't have a podcast app, iTunes, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, there are many that are free. You just get the app and then search for Effortless English Podcast. You find it, you subscribe, then it's automatic. That's easy. Remember, I do audio shows. Many times I do audio shows only. It's only audio. There's no video at all. So if you only watch YouTube or Facebook, then you are missing a lot of great, free, fantastic, effortless English podcasts, shows. So do both. It's great to watch the videos, but certainly get the audio podcast. The other nice thing about audios are nice because you can do other things. You can listen to an audio and you don't need to watch. Don't need to use your eyes, so you can go for a walk, you can drive a car, whatever, and you can still listen. That's another advantage of audio. Welcome everyone who is live today. Joining me, lots of familiar names. We have kind of a familiar audience of Effortless English family. We've got Massimo, for example, in Sardinia, which is part of Italy. We've got Ibrahim, who is also one of our regular supporters. Two Ibrahims. Two different ones. Ibrahim Kamal, Ibrahim Ali. Asma from Egypt also. Alexi, as usual. Hey. Lisa, who finally told me how to pronounce her name. Short I, Lisa. Hello from Haiti, Christopher. You might be the first person from Haiti. Giuliano, another regular. Hello. So lots and lots of familiar names. Welcome all of you. I enjoy it. Raghav, hey, good to see you again. Ramesh, good to see you again. Rashmina Sevak. Deepak Sharma, nice. Luciana, hello. So anyway, hello to all of you joining live. Hey, by the way, I mentioned on May 26th, I have a date now and I have a time. May 26th, I will interview Sri Dharma Pravartika Acharya. Acharya. These are not English. Acharya is not an English word. Long name. But two of those are kind of titles, the Sri and the Acharya. So he's a spiritual teacher. I think his American name Frank Morales, if I remember correctly. Anyway, he's a really fantastic spiritual teacher, focusing on Dharma, specifically on Dharma or natural law. We've been talking about that topic a lot. I have been talking about it a lot. We have discussed it. We will continue to do so because it's one of my favorite topics and very important. So I'm going to have him on because he is a true teacher, a true spiritual teacher, and true expert on this topic of Dharma. And I'm very, very, very excited to interview him on May 26th. Now, unfortunately, it will be at a different time, not our usual time, because he's in the United States. So right now, it's not a convenient time for him. So it'll be, let's see, what time is it now? It's 8 o'clock now, 8 p.m. Japan time. It'll be 4:30 a.m. Japan time. So 8 hours from now on May 26th. You have to find your local time. I'll put a link to the local times. There's a website you can do. I think it's called World Clock. So you could find your local time and hopefully it's convenient for you. That's a Sunday. It'll be a Sunday. Let me think. I'm trying to think of the time. Yeah, it'll be a Sunday. I'm ahead of the United States. So it'll be Sunday or Saturday afternoon or Sunday. I think for me, actually, wait a second. No, for me, it'll be Monday. So for people in Asia, it'll be early morning Monday. But for Americans, it'll be Sunday afternoon for you. South Americans also. And Europeans probably evening. So it'll be good for the North Americans, the South Americans, and the Europeans. For those of us in Asia, not such a good time. But you can watch the recording. If you want to learn more about him and some of his ideas, I do recommend he's got a great YouTube channel, a really, really good YouTube channel. That's how I found him. I found him first on YouTube, and I watched every video he has. I watched every one, and many times I will watch one of his videos again. And then he also has several books, and I also have read his books. I've read three of his books. His kind of main three, I believe. So anyway, he's wonderful. If you want to learn more about him, I'm just going to call him by his title because the name's kind of long. So I'm just going to say Acharya-ji, which is a title. Acharya is kind of like a spiritual teacher. And Ji, as the Indians know, Ji is like shows respect. In India, you can add Ji after someone's name. And it just shows respect. Like, AJG. You could say AJG, I guess, and it's like showing me respect. I think it's very similar to in Japan, they use san or sama, even more respectful, right? So a Japanese person, sometimes Japanese people will call me AJ-san, right? If they're not close to me, AJ-san. And that san just shows respect. It's like kind of a little extra respect. In Japanese, they have another level. You could say sama, which is even more respect. AJ-sama. Sometimes my wife calls me AJ-sama, but she's joking. So anyway, the G is kind of like that for in India. They'll use the G. They'll put a G at the end of a name or a title, which kind of just shows an extra amount of respect. So that's if I say Acharya Ji, it's kind of his title, teacher, respected teacher, something like that. So that's what I'm going to say. Although I often pronounce this word badly, Acharya, because it's not English. But anyway, Acharya Ji. So Acharya Ji will be May 26th. His YouTube channel is Dharma Nation. Dharma Nation, which is a cool name, very nice name. Check it out. Go watch some of his videos. Some might be difficult. He does use some. He has a PhD. He's a very intelligent man. He's talking about very deep philosophical topics. Because of this, some of the vocabulary is difficult. But, don't be afraid of that. Some of his talks are a little more simple and easier to understand for you, probably. And some might be a little more complicated and harder to understand. But just, play around and watch some of his videos. So again, the YouTube channel is Dharma Nation. Dharma Nation. And if you listen to some of his videos, this might help you understand the interview better. You can get used to some of his vocabulary. You can get used to his accent. You can get used to his speaking speed, all of that. He's American. He speaks with also a normal American accent. It's very standard. He doesn't have any strong accent or anything. But it's just that sometimes the vocabulary is a little difficult. So Dharma Nation on YouTube. Dharma Nation, it's all one word. Dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, Nation, N-A-T-I-O-N. Dharma Nation all together on YouTube. Check it out. One more announcement, and then we'll get to our topic. Just again to remind you, I will be reselling my business English course. It's called Business English Conversations. Business English Conversations. Now, this is a course I made with my father. My father and I made this, and it's called Conversations. It's because the center of the course, each unit has a conversation between myself and my dad talking about a business topic. So we discuss, it's a natural conversation, and we talk about a business topic. Then in each unit, there's also other lessons where I teach the vocabulary from the conversation and give a commentary, and he gives a commentary. There are no mini stories in this course. It's a little bit different, but it's more conversation focused. The good thing about that is my dad uses a lot of idioms, a lot. I don't know why. He just it's his natural. I don't use many idioms when I speak, and naturally my dad uses a lot of them. Okay, so you will learn business ideas and business vocabulary, but you also are going to learn a lot of idioms in that course, just because my dad uses them. So he uses them in the conversations with me, and I realize then I have to explain what they all mean. So you will learn a lot of idioms, and you'll hear them in a natural, real conversation, many conversations between my dad and I. Another thing that makes the course interesting is that we're talking about business topics, especially like jobs and career. How do you make a good resume? How do you pass a job interview? How do you get a job successfully? How do you make more money at work? All these ideas in different units, different lessons. But what's interesting, my dad and I have very, very, very different ideas about business. He had a long career in big business, right? Working for very large companies. The main company he worked for was IBM, a huge, huge company. So that's his kind of viewpoint. And as you probably know, I'm quite the opposite. I hate working in that kind of job. I don't like big companies at all. So I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I always worked at small little companies. I changed jobs constantly. And then I started my own business. I've tried a couple times to start my own business and succeeded the second time. So I have a very different idea about these topics. So it's quite interesting because then we have a conversation and he says his idea and his advice, and I give my ideas and my advice. And often we agree and sometimes we disagree. But it's interesting. You get to get both sides or different sides, and you get a lot of idioms. You will learn business vocabulary, and most of all, you'll learn some really great ideas for your career, for getting a good job, getting better jobs, all those kind of things. So that's called Business English Conversations. It's coming in a couple months. We're adding it to our courses website. I'll tell you more later. All right, let's get to our topic because I got a big topic today, and I'm already... it's already 14 minutes with all my announcements. All right, so let's talk about our topic today. The topic is purpose, your life purpose. I like to talk about this topic sometimes. It's a common question. It's a common worry a lot of people have. How do I find my life purpose? What is my life purpose? What is the purpose of life in general? What is the meaning of life? You know, you are not the only person to think about this. I'm not the only person to ask these questions. for all of human life, humans have been asking these questions. What is the meaning of life? What is life's purpose in general for everybody? And specifically, for me, for you, what is your life purpose or mission? Especially young people really have a hard time with this. Why? You think about it, why do we need a life purpose? Why ask these questions? Why are these questions important? Why is a purpose important? Why do you need some kind of big purpose to your life? It's a good question. We should think about why, right? Well, what I see is people who don't have a purpose. It doesn't matter, young or old, but you'll see it a lot with young people. They're kind of lost in life. Their life feels meaningless, right? Without a feeling that there's a purpose to your life, maybe more than one purpose, missions, purposes, then you can kind of just feel like everything's meaningless, right? And I think a lot of people are finding this now, right now, in this time in history. That we have, millions and millions, maybe billions probably, of people in the world who do not feel any purpose to life, no purpose. The only purpose they think is just to feel good, feel pleasure. We've talked about this topic a lot, right? Pleasure, feel good, right? Buy things that make you feel good. Do whatever you want, do anything you want, as long as it feels good. Right? The 1960s philosophy in a sentence, right? Do whatever you want as long as it feels good, right? That kind of hippie 1960s idea. They changed the culture. And this is the message you will get from the media constantly. TV, movies, all of it. That's what they show, right? Fun and just, fun and party and pleasure and do whatever you want. Be free, man. That's the purpose of life. So a lot of people do that. And like most things, I wish I had it. I'm going to do another show about the Bhagavad Gita. There's a section that talks about exactly this. Things that feel good in the beginning and later make you unhappy, and things that feel difficult in the beginning and later make you very, very happy. Well, it's this kind of thing. When you first start this, like when you're young, and you think, I'm young, woo, and you just, party, have fun, pleasure, do whatever you want, yeah. It is fun. It is fun. It feels good. Getting drunk and doing, and just, going crazy. It's fun for a while. Like so many things in life, it's only enjoyable for a while. And then what happens with pretty much everybody? Sooner or later, it begins to feel empty because there's no purpose to it. It's just pleasure. It's just pleasure in the moment. The problem with those pleasures is they disappear. They're only there for a very short time. And then the next day, after you party and have fun, the next day you feel like shit, which is a idiom. To feel like shit means to feel terrible, really feel terrible. Physically, right? Your head hurts, you have a headache. And even emotionally, usually you feel maybe a little depressed, you feel down, you feel bad. There's a price to it. And there's not only that kind of price, but even long term, there's a deeper price, which is you feel your life is meaningless. People who live that way for years and years, girls who just go and have sex with lots and lots of guys and party and let's just make lots of money. Guys who just money and fun and After many years of doing that, their life begins to feel meaningless, pointless. And then there's this kind of dissatisfaction. They're not satisfied. This kind of deep unhappiness that comes when life feels meaningless. There's no purpose to your life. Pleasure's not a purpose. It's not a purpose that works. It's not a purpose that creates long-term happiness. It's short-term and it leads to pain eventually. So that's why. On the other hand, people who have a purpose, people who have something that they feel there's a meaning to their life, maybe more than one, right? That life has meaning, and specifically their life, your life. There's a purpose. There's something important you're doing in your life that is meaningful and important, not only for you, but for others. This is very important. It goes beyond just you. It's more than just you. And people who have that, they're happier, they're more at peace, they're stronger mentally and emotionally and spiritually. So just at a practical level, just at a very basic level of being more happy and having a better life and enjoying it more, having a purpose is very, very powerful and important. There are other benefits too, but let's just talk about those. Also, when you have a purpose, you're less bored. People who have no purpose, they get bored easily, right? Because they just need that pleasure, and the pleasure finally, disappears. And after a while, the same thing again and again gets boring. Maybe partying and drinking for 3 years, 5 years is fun. After a while, it just gets kind of boring. It's the same thing again and again. Loud bar, same loud music, same loud people. It becomes boring. Another thing is that when you have a purpose, you can handle difficult things in life better. Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday in that question about children. If you have no purpose, then when bad things happen, when your life is difficult, something difficult happens to you, it's very difficult to deal with it. It's like, it's very tough because you feel like you're suffering for no reason. But when you have a purpose, then your suffering has a meaning. Your pain, your difficulty, your problems have a bigger purpose, a bigger meaning. You can deal with them better. You can handle them better. You can get through them better because there's something more important. I'll give you a simple example of this. Very, very basic example of this. Let's say tomorrow I come to your house. I have a gun. And I say, right now, go run 10K, run 10 kilometers. You would do it because you'd be afraid of dying, maybe. But it would have no purpose, right? So you'd run and you'd sweat and probably, you would kind of suffer unless you're a really good runner. And maybe 10K is nothing for you, but for a lot of people, it would really be bad. You would suffer, and it would be pointless, and you really would not enjoy it in any way. It would have no meaning at all. This is, by the way, if you want a better example, imagine when you were young in gym class, right? If you had in your school, maybe you had gym or physical education. And you have to go to class, right? And you go to the class, and there's the teacher, and then he makes you run around outside for 20 minutes. But there's no purpose. Right? It's just exercise. And, most kids hate that. They're like, and he's like blows the whistle, go, run, everybody run. And all the kids are, they're running, but nobody's having fun. Nobody likes it. And in fact, the opposite, right? Everybody hates it and they're complaining and I don't want to do that. It's just miserable because there's no purpose for it. On the other hand, imagine the same situation. Tomorrow you run 10K, 10 kilometers. However, you are training, you are preparing to do the Camino de Santiago. You're going to walk, you're going to do a pilgrimage, right? You're going to walk from from France to Santiago, Spain, 30 days walking. It's a pilgrimage. In fact, imagine you are a Catholic. So even more than just anyone, you are a Catholic. And so this pilgrimage, the Camino de Santiago, has a deep religious meaning for you also. So now tomorrow, when you run 10K, you are preparing, you are training for something that has a big, deep meaning for you, doing the Camino de Santiago. Will you feel different tomorrow when you run? You will, because it has a purpose. It might still be difficult. It might still be hot. You might still sweat a lot. You might still be tired. But all those difficult things now have meaning and purpose, and you might even enjoy them. When you are feeling that pain and difficulty, for a reason, a good reason, a powerful reason, it's actually possible to enjoy them. I'm talking from experience. I mean, I did the Camino. I'm not Catholic, but I did the Camino. It was meaningful for me. And I trained for it. And I remember in San Francisco, I ran for 6 hours, getting ready for the Camino. And I was really tired and I was sweating and all kinds of physical problems, hurting. But in a strange way, I enjoyed it too. Because it's a good memory for me. Because it was difficult and it had purpose. It had a meaning. Many times in life, things that are very, very difficult that have meaning, we think of them as great things that we did, as great memories. But if you do the same exact thing, but there's no purpose, then it's a bad memory. All right, so how do you find purpose? I think you understand now why it's important. A lot of people, when they're thinking about this, young people who ask me about how do I find my purpose, AJ? I don't know, what do I do with my life? And usually they're focusing first on jobs, on a career or a job, and they think that work is where they will find their purpose, career or a job. Some people will focus on school, maybe they're more academic, and they're what should I study? What should I study in school? And that's where I'll find my purpose in life. And if some people, maybe it's some political cause or something, charity or something like that. But those are all mistakes, in my opinion. Those are mistakes. Those can be part of your life purpose, but it takes time. For those kind of things, it takes time, it takes experience. You have to try a lot of things. You have to have life experiences, and then you will kind of then find things. Part of my life purpose is teaching English to you and helping people around the world communicate with each other. It's definitely part of my life purpose. But it took me, 15 years to realize that. So it was... right? So it took me a long time. And before that, it was not part of my purpose. I didn't realize it. So those things take time. But there are 3 things I believe that really for everybody, for every single person, you can have a purpose that's very important and deep and powerful right now for your whole life. And this is true for everyone in the world. So I say, start with these 3 that I'm going to talk about now. And then later you'll find those kind of more social things, the things that are more connected to society. Okay, so the 3 are God, Dharma, and family. And I'm choosing these carefully for a reason because traditionally, these are the 3. These are probably the 3 most important answers. If you look at the old writings, the ancient writings, the writings of the great philosophers, religious and non-religious, you will find that there's a very strong agreement on these 3, being the meaning of life, the purpose of life in general for all of us. And we should start there. What is true? What is universal for all? And then, of course, you add to that, the work you do or other things in life. But the good thing is you can have these 3 at any age, any situation. You can have God, Dharma, and family. Or instead of Dharma, the English word is Dharma is now an English word. We use it. We borrowed it. Like English steals a lot of words from other languages. So Dharma is an English word. You can use it. Maybe natural law is the other, is the more English word to say the same idea. So let's talk about all 3, why they are important and how they are part of your purpose in life. Okay, God, the first one. The first one, some people say, I don't believe in God. I don't know about God. I'm not talking about any specific religion. I'm not trying to tell you must be a Christian or a Buddhist or whatever. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is by God, I mean the source of all things, the highest meaning. Where does all of this come from? For thousands and thousands of years, humans have asked this question, right? They go into the mountains and they look at the sky and you see the stars and you look at everything and you say, why? I was watching one of our Chayaji's videos last night and he talks about this basic question. Why is there something and not nothing? Why? Why is there life? Why is there everything we see? Why does it exist? Why? I mean, why nothing? There could just be nothing. No life, nothing at all. But there's not. There's all of this. Why? And then the next question, I'm not going to tell you the answer, but the next question is, where does it all come from? Ultimately, finally, what is the source of all of it? And as he said in the video, there are two possible main answers to that. One answer is it's all random. It's just chance. This is what a lot of the fake scientists will say. Fake scientists, kind of like fake news. They're not real scientists, but the fake scientists say it's just random. There's no purpose at all. In all of this, everything that exists, that there's no purpose. It's just random. It just happened randomly by chance. And then the other possibility, main possibility, is the opposite of that. It's not random. It's not by chance. It's by design. There is an order, right? There's an order and a design to all, an intelligence in it all. That seems clear to me. It's not random. You can go to a forest, go to the top of a mountain, and just look out at all the trees and the huge forest. And everything's different. Every leaf is special and different, and yet there's also a pattern. There are clear laws and rules and order to all of it, and tremendous beauty. And this is part of the problem of living in cities, that we forget this. We lose this feeling. We lose the connection. Because human cities are not that beautiful, really. They're not that amazing. But when you get out in nature and you really look, you will be amazed. It's amazing. You look at the stars, you get away from cities in a dark, dark sky, and you see all those stars. And, this is what humans used to do, and they were amazed by it all. And it was clear there's some kind of order. It's not random. It's not a bunch of chance. We can see this. We can see it and feel it. It's super obvious. There are patterns. And there's just the basic physical laws of physics and chemistry and things. And then there are psychological laws. And then there are, there's order to all. And then the next question, you're like, well, where does it all come from? And of course, you just have to go back in your mind. It's a thought experiment. Again, I'm not going to just give you answers. Just do it yourself. Think. The fake scientists say it all came. Fake scientists, you can kind of know they're fake because on one hand, there's one rule of science is that matter cannot be created or destroyed. It's a basic. I learned it in physics class. Matter, meaning, things, cannot be created or destroyed. To be more specific, it's really matter and matter energy. Thanks to Einstein and his formula. So matter and energy, if you combine them together, they cannot be created and cannot be destroyed, only changed, right? So this thing can never be totally destroyed. You can burn it and it becomes smoke. You change it into something else. It melts, it becomes liquid. You can, if you put it in a fusion reactor or something, you could maybe change it into energy, and which would create a massive, fusion explosion. But it's still just changing into something else. You can never completely get rid of it. And also, you cannot just from nothing create something. This is what scientists say. This is what physics says. It's a law of physics. And then you ask the physicist and the astronomer and the astrophysicist, where does everything come from? Everything we see, everything we know, the whole universe, where does it come from? And they'll say, the Big Bang. And then you'll say, well, what does that mean? And they'll say, where did the Big Bang come from? And they say it comes from nothing. And you say, well, how? Why? How did everything come from nothing at all? That goes against physics. And they don't know. And they'll just, they have a bunch of bullshit answers. But basically, is nonsense. Why would everything suddenly, for no reason at all, come from nothing, randomly? It doesn't really make sense, but anyway, think about it. The point is, I'm not trying to give you any answers. I'm just saying think about it yourself. These are important questions. Humans have asked these questions for thousands and thousands, millions, maybe hundreds of thousands. I guess not millions, hundreds of thousands of years. So it's part of being human to ask these questions and to think about them yourself. Don't just accept answers from other people. Think about these things and not just quickly, oh yeah, whatever, and just accept some answer. Think deeply. That's when I say the purpose is God. I mean, you're seeking the highest truth. You're looking for the highest truth. So even if you are agnostic and you just say, I don't know if there's a God, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Think about these questions. Ask these questions. I mean, these are big questions. It's not something you can figure out in one day. It's not something you can figure out in 1 year. It takes a lot of time to think about this, maybe to read a lot of books about this topic, these topics. So, but I think that's one purpose of life, though, is to look for the highest truth, the source of the highest truth. I mean, this is what Alan Watts had a nice, I can't remember his exact quote, but basically he said, someone asked him this question, what is the meaning of life? And his answer, I remember the quote now. Someone said, Alan Watts, what is the meaning of life? And he had a kind of a funny answer, which is quite nice, actually. He said, the meaning of life is to ask the question, what is the meaning of life? In other words, he was saying that the meaning of life is to look for that highest truth, to look for the highest meaning. To seek the highest truth is the meaning of life. That's what Alan Watts said, which many call God, but you don't have to use that word if you don't want to, but searching for the highest truth. All right, purpose number 2, I mentioned dharma or natural law. I'll use natural law because it's a more common English phrase. So natural law, what does that mean? Well, that means, we see that in life, there are laws, right? There is order. It's not random. Things don't happen randomly in life. There is law. There are rules of the universe, right? Of existence, of life. There are physical ones, like physics, right? So on Earth, if you drop something, it will fall. It's called gravity. Do we understand how gravity works? Not really, but we do know that it exists because you can see it every time. You drop something, it will fall. You drop something, it will fall. That's gravity. Yeah. There are psychological laws, right? Laws of thinking. There are. It's not random. When you think in some ways, right? These laws, we can call it dharma, natural law. But some ways of thinking, some patterns, some habits of thinking will lead to more happiness and more success and more strength. Other ways of thinking will lead to unhappiness and failure and weakness. And it's predictable, right? It's a pattern, and it's true for everybody. That's part of dharma or natural law, psychological laws. There are social laws. There are certain ways of communicating with people that will create generally better relationships, better communication. Persuasion is part of this. Persuasion. There are definitely laws, natural laws of persuasion. There are certain ways of talking and communicating that are more persuasive. There are other ways of communicating and talking that are less persuasive. It's not random. There are laws. There are rules. Physical, biophysical, right? Meaning your body, right? There are certain ways of moving, exercise, and eating that create more health and more energy and longer life. There are other ways of eating and moving, or not moving, being lazy, that create less energy, less health, weakness. Again, these are not random. There are laws that are true for everybody. And finally, there are spiritual laws. There are spiritual laws. There are certain ways of praying, of meditating, that will lead to greater happiness for you and all around you, greater truth, greater connection to that highest truth. And there are other ways of acting and thinking and being that will lead to evil, that will lead to pain and suffering for others and yourself. Again, there are laws. This is what natural law means. It means there are all these kinds of laws in the universe. You can't see them, but they're there. Just like you can't see gravity, but you see the effect of gravity. That's how we know. How do we know there's gravity? Can we see something pulling this? We cannot see anything pulling it to the ground, but we know something is. There's some force, something we call it gravity. Well, it's the same thing. Psychological laws, biological laws, spiritual laws. We can't see them, but they're there. We can see the effects. So what does this mean to have Dharma as your purpose, to have natural law as a life purpose? It means your life purpose, one of your life purposes, is to figure out these laws. This is such good news in life, because it means that when you want some kind of life, you want a happy life, a strong life, a good life, well, there are ways to do that. You're not lost. You just have to find the natural law and follow it, and it will lead you to happiness. It will lead you to strength. It will lead you to all these things that you want, the good life, a really good life. And so part of your life purpose is to figure it out and to find the natural law, the natural laws, the Dharma of life in all these different areas of life. Because they're not going to teach it to you in school. You don't learn it in school, and often you don't learn it from parents. You don't learn all of it from parents. You can learn it from books, old books, ancient books like the Bhagavad Gita, like the Tao Te Ching, etc. You can learn it from old philosophers. This is why I recommend read those old books. But books are not enough. You also learn from life experience, experimenting with your own life, like Gandhi, like I mentioned, right? Experiments with truth. You've got to also get out there in the world. And in this way, by reading from the wise old books and learning from the great minds, and also testing in your own life and lots of life experience, you begin to find these laws of life, the natural law. Then you just need to follow it. You just need the discipline to follow it, and you will create that long-term peace and happiness in your life that you want, the meaning that you want. So that's what it means to have Dharma as a purpose in life. And finally, family, and this is the most practical one, I guess. Family. We can have lots of social purposes. I want to make my society better, and I want to solve homelessness, and these kind of social issues they're okay, I guess, if you got to be careful with them. But so often we just forget about the most important one, which is family. Again, we can all have this purpose, family. As I mentioned yesterday when I was talking about babies, there was kind of the funny comment in the audio podcast yesterday. We got a quite funny comment from someone on Gab to me. And he was talking about all the bad things about babies. For example, they pee, they poop, and the poop smells bad. You have to clean their butt, right? Clean their ass is what he said. You have to clean their butt, change their diapers all the time. They cry a lot. They vomit, right? We say throw up. Bleh. They vomit or throw up on you, on your clothes, on your floor, everywhere. They cry. You don't get much sleep. So he was naming all these, all the bad points of having a baby. And as I said yesterday, I said all those things are totally true. Because I'm doing it right now. I have 2 new babies, and they are doing all those things. They have thrown up on me, vomited onto my shirt many times. They have pooped on me. I've got poop on my hands. They've peed on me. They cry a lot. The first month I got almost no sleep. It was pretty terrible, actually. And still sometimes. Like today, I did not get much sleep. So they're all true. But as I told him, It's like the example I gave about running a 10K in the beginning of this show. Difficult things can be good. They can even feel good when you have a bigger purpose. Do I want just to have poop on my hands? No. Would I like that? No. Would I want someone to throw up on me? Like go to a bar and somebody gets drunk and they just throw up on me? No, I would hate that. But that's not the situation, because with these babies, I have a super important purpose. They are my children. I'm raising them. I must protect them. They need me for everything. And I love them. They're so cute. They're so sweet. I love them so much. So I don't care if they throw up on me. I don't care if they poop on me. It's just poop. So what? It's nothing. The bad part is this much, and the great part is gigantic, huge. This is the power of purpose. And having children gives you instant purpose because they need you for everything. You instantly, as a father or a mother, you have a big, super important life purpose for the rest of your life. Instantly. The first day they are born. Now they need you for everything. I mean, literally everything, because they will die without you. They need you for food. They need you for everything. And of course, later they get older and more independent, but you're always there. You're always their teacher. You're always their coach. You're always their protector. Always, always, always for your entire life. Powerful purpose. That's why one reason that family is so important. And when I say family, of course, as a child, helping your own parents is part of that. Some people say, "Oh, I have a bad relationship. My parents are not good." But that's okay, because you can be a better parent. You can when you have children. But when you get married and you have children, you have a life purpose. It doesn't matter, even if you never have a purpose for your job. Even if never, ever, you just hate your job for all of life. But still, now your work has a reason. Now your work has a purpose, which is to take care of your family and your children. Am I saying this is the only purpose in life? No, but it's very, very, very powerful. And anyone can do it. Part of your purpose, too, is to teach your children Dharma. Teach them natural law. Teach them all those things that school will not teach them. Teach them about money. Teach them about dating and love and marriage. All the things that they need that nobody teaches now. Schools certainly will not teach, and they'll get nothing but lies from their friends and from media. So this gives you a huge purpose. And what is purpose, right? The reason this is so powerful is purpose means that it's bigger than you. Just you is not a purpose, right? That's why pleasure is empty, finally. That's why people who only try to just feel pleasure, just selfishly, just me, feel good, 1960s, woo, just pleasure. I just want to feel good, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's an empty, unhappy life, finally. It's it feels good for a short time. It does. That's why they do it. But it is finally empty, because anything that is just you, it makes you feel small and alone and meaningless. Purpose means it has to be more than just you. That is part of the meaning of purpose. It's something that you are living for, bigger than just you. Family is the first one. And then you can find other things in life too. But purpose, just remember, purpose has to be beyond you, more than you. That's why children are so powerful, because when you get children, now you have something more important to you than yourself. They're more important to you than you are. And it seems strange, but that will make you much, much happier. Like so much happier. Just focusing on yourself all the time. Bleh. It does not create happiness, actually. It just doesn't. We think it might. The media tells us that's how we should be happy. Just think of yourself all the time. Me. And analyze yourself constantly. But actually, it's the opposite. When you find something that is more important to you than just yourself, you instantly will feel this feeling of purpose. You instantly will feel happier. Promise you, you will. Anyone who knows this can write it in the comments, because anyone who finds this, they know it's true. A lot of purpose is just going beyond yourself, getting out of just you. That's why that me thing is so dangerous. Okay, then. Let's go to comments and questions now. Whew. I'm going to open my window. I'm a little hot. 1 second. Right back. Speaking of, I'll let people type some comments and questions, give you a minute. And just want to say the weather here is fantastic. It's kind of almost like an early summer today in Japan, wearing shorts, short sleeve shirts. I love it. I love it. As you might know, I don't like winter, and I love sunny, warm weather. So, very good mood today. Me and my baby. One baby's in the hospital still, but the other baby girl, we went for a walk today. Very nice. Oh, but I do have good news. So I know some of you ask about the babies. The baby boy will be coming home soon. 2 weeks, I think. We'll see. But I'll have both babies home soon. Baby party. And then probably less sleep. Yeah, Hamid, talking about the Dharma, the natural law of thinking. A law of thinking. The most strange secret. You become what you think about most of the time. I think Aristotle wrote something like that. Yeah, right. Tony Robbins kind of says, you become what you focus on, which is the same. It's just a different way to say the same idea, right? If you think constantly angry thoughts, constantly thinking angry things, you become an angry person. That's right. Merrick says, many people in the world have survival as their goal in their life. Well, that's certainly one purpose. Just survive the next day. Don't die of hunger. Don't be killed. Don't commit suicide from despair. It's sad, but it's real. It is sad. Now, some of those, like the suicide, despair one, this is maybe from a lack of purpose. Certainly in the more, people who have, enough things. But let's say in a war zone. But here's something you'll find if you talk to somebody who's been in a war zone sometime, you're going to find something quite interesting. They're not depressed. That fight for survival is a powerful purpose that's actually sometimes positive. You will talk to people who've been in war, and their depression disappears. Their mind becomes so sharp because every moment is a fight for survival. You can sometimes people who they have to survive in the wilderness. They get lost in the mountains and they got no food. They'll tell you the same thing, like this fight for survival. It wakes up something deep inside of us. And they find a kind of strength and power. Many, I won't say all, of course some people just give up, but many people who go through that kind of thing will tell you that actually it made them stronger, that it got rid of. It's the people, the people who are just depressed and and think about suicide. Those are usually the people living in a city in some rich country with a super easy life, but no purpose. They're just sitting around on the internet all day or watching TV. They feel lonely. They feel their life has no meaning, no purpose. Because they're not, and then just focus on themselves and how lonely and unhappy they are, and then they kill themselves. That's much more common. Look at the suicide. Go find some statistics about suicide. I'll tell you this, like in the United States, I know, you would think, which group has the highest suicide rate? do you think, black or white people? Is it black people or white people kill themselves more in America? What do you think? So if it's because of suffering and being poor, you would think black people, right? They have worse lives. They do. In America, no doubt at all. They have less money, a lot more crime, a lot harder, more terrible lives in general. We're talking just statistics. But in fact, it's white people who commit suicide more, who have more money. So why? That seems a little strange. Well, I don't know why exactly why black people don't, but I think it's connected to this. They're fighting for survival, and whereas white people, they have everything they need material. They have the money they need. They got food. They're not fighting. They're not starving to death, but they have no meaning in their life, no purpose. They're not fighting for anything at all. In fact, everything's too easy. Easy but meaningless. Easy and meaningless that creates depression and can lead to suicide. It's a terrible combination to have an easy life and also feel it's meaningless. You might feel it's meaningless, but if you have a hard life, you're kind of forced to survive. And kind of like Merrick said, the survival can become a very almost like animal level purpose. Animals have this, but it actually is powerful. It can be powerful, fighting for survival. But when you have nothing to fight for at all, then you lose all hope. You have no reason to live anymore. You got nothing. Okay. Ooh, big one here. Let's see, there's something about English. Let's see. All right, big long comment. I can't read the name. It looks like it is in Arabic. I want to say a funny history about teaching English in university. Our English teacher came to class and said, I have a master's degree in English, and I've taught English for 20 years. But when he started to read a book, he pronounced happen, hapande. Interesting. And all class began to laugh. Okay. And also he made some grammar mistakes. And I said aloud to my teacher, stop teaching us wrong pronunciation in textbooks because you're going to waste our time. He got angry and punished me. And I cannot go to his class, but I feel happy because I did an amazing thing in my whole life. You're 100% right. Teacher, lots of love. Okay. Yeah. Lexi says, we have got to use a childhood attitude of life in our adult life in terms of asking a lot of questions about everything. I agree that curiosity of childhood, I think school kills it for a lot of people, but the best minds, the best thinkers continue to ask those questions, that wonderful curiosity. They continue to be wonderfully curious about everything, even when they're 70 or 80. A lot of people, when they grow up, they're losing their curiosity. They're focused only on a job and family. They're kind of blind bird, and they're flying in a direction but seeing nothing. I agree, Alexi. That's right. That wonder, that amazement, when you really look, especially in the natural world, anywhere in the natural world, you really look and quiet your mind and appreciate it, you will be overcome with this feeling we call wonder or awe when the full beauty and complexity and design and truth of it it'll affect you, and you'll feel something quite amazing. But most people just walk around and don't even notice. Oh, it's Vladislav. Oh, it was you. So I knew the name was Vladislav. I didn't realize it was you, Vladislav. It was me who wrote about the problems with kids at Gab. Yeah, I listened to the last podcast. I wrote a long response at Gab. I'll read it. I also sent you a music video of my favorite singer. She recorded the song after giving birth to her daughter. She was inspired. Oh, wonderful, Vladislav. That's great. Yeah, it was a great comment. I'm not at all criticizing you. I hope you realize that. It was a wonderful comment. And in fact, what you wrote is exactly how I felt for many years in my life. For many, many years. That's why I waited so long, probably too long, to have children. I thought the same, I thought, it's just stinky diapers and crying and it's going to make my life worse. And I was wrong. Wrong. As for all the reasons I said. So it's good. I'm glad. Actually, I'm happy you asked the question, because it gave me a opportunity to share, and hopefully, help other people who might have those ideas too, and realize, don't worry, yeah, all those things are true, but it doesn't matter. It's just like exercise, right? It's kind of connected to exercise. I'll just say the name, my mom. My mom hates exercise. She's overweight. All her life overweight. All her life I've been trying to, push her, encourage her to exercise. Mom, exercise. You need to exercise. Be more healthy. But what does she do? She focuses, I don't want to sweat. My muscles are going to hurt. I feel pain. I feel really tired. I don't like it. She focuses just on those negative things. That's all she thinks about. Right? Now, are those things true? They are all true. If you exercise, it doesn't matter, lifting weights or walking, running outside, whatever, you're going to sweat probably. Yep. And you're going to have tired muscles. They might kind of burn while you're exercising. That feeling, that burning feeling. Yes, true. Next day, maybe really, really sore, really, pain, sometimes very strong pain in your muscles. Especially people who have not exercised before, and then you suddenly exercise. Yes, lots of pain. I can remember sometimes, lifting weights, and the next day, like almost could not walk. Try to walk up the stairs, and like a 90-year-old man, you're like, like everything, super pain, right? So imagine if you only focused on that, then of course, then you would never want to exercise. But what's the problem? Well, the problem is then you become fat and lazy and tired and sick and no energy. But of course, people who exercise, who enjoy it, they know that there are much bigger benefits compared to those little problems. Right? They know that, yeah, that's true. Like I know if I go now and I work really super hard, if I work out, yeah, I'll probably feel a lot of pain the next day, my muscles. But I also know if I keep going, that next month, my energy will be much higher. I'll be stronger. I'll look better. I'll lose fat. I'll just feel mentally and emotionally happier. So I know all these big, huge benefits of exercising. So I know that compared to that, the problems, the pains, the difficulties are very small, and they don't last a long time. So I exercise. All people who exercise realize that, and they think, oh, well, yes, those are problems, but they're small problems. They're not that. It's no big deal. They focus on the big benefits. It's the same with kids. Will they cry and all those and poop? Yes, of course. But that's again a tiny problem compared to the huge, wonderful good things. So you've got to look at the whole picture. Yuli says, family, the first ones to teach kids about Dharma. Every time, like learning to myself. Yes, right. Ideally, your family will teach you Dharma, natural law, these things. Okay, now this is nice. Lisa says, hey, Lisa. I had to find a new life purpose several times in my life. This can happen too. When I followed my life purpose, I felt very good. The gates opened. I got a lot of help from strangers. If things went hard after a while, I couldn't find a solution, I hit walls, then I knew I had to change and find another life goal. My basic goal was always to help people. The question, just how can I do it? That's a good point. I'm going to talk about that. I'm still in this situation right now, but it's not wrong because my life will be colorful. Right, now that's wonderful, and you're right, it will change. But see, that's why I like to talk about purpose and then goals or methods. See, she says she has to change her life purpose, and I understand, kind of like me. I was a social worker, then I became an English teacher. But on the other hand, I think she found the answer. She said, my basic goal, I would just change the words here. I would say it's her basic purpose, Her deeper purpose is always to help people. That's the thing that never changed in her whole life. How she helped people changed, maybe. Maybe she volunteered. Maybe she did it in her family. Maybe then she had to do something else, maybe a different kind of thing. So she found lots of different ways to help people at different times in her life. But underneath always was this general big purpose: help other people. And then she had different methods, different goals, different missions, different ways to do that. That's again why I mentioned, family, dharma, God, because you can find many, 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 many ways to follow those three, to serve those three. They can change at different times, right? Like a family. Okay, when you have babies, then you have to do everything and take care of them. When your children are 20 years old, then you have to totally change how you help them and serve them, right? They need something very, very different from you when they're 20, more like a coach, an advisor. And when they're babies, it's totally different. So you have underneath it is the deep life purposes, such as help other people. But then how you do that can change during your life, because your life, different things happen in life. So you can always change how you do that. You could be you can help people by, in one job, like let's say like you're a counselor. But then you could later you could start a business that helps people. That'd be another way to help people. So yeah, I think she's great about this, that in life you will do this. Your things change, and you'll maybe find you might have that deeper purpose stays the same, but then how you do it can change a lot at different times. And that's good. Yeah, like Chirac is saying, purpose isn't focus on yourself only. It's the focus on what you do for others, right? It's something bigger than just you. That's really a very important part of purpose. Now, you can still, I'm not saying you never, realize, I'm not saying never do something for yourself. No, but we're talking about purpose, right? You can also do things for yourself, of course. Okay, Giuliano says, I often believe in my life. I've wondered who created the universe or what. But honestly, I can't believe in God. I'd like to be a believer. Maybe I would live better, but I can't pretend. I can't lie to myself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't pretend. Just seek the truth. And, sometimes, too, we get blocked. I'm speaking for myself even, Giuliano, that sometimes it's the word that is the problem. Right? So you imagine, even if you imagine what the scientists tell us, everything was started from nothing in an instant. They call it the Big Bang. What was before the Big Bang? They'll say either we don't know, or they'll say nothing. And then they'll say, well, how can everything, billions and billions of galaxies, instantly come from nothing at all? And why? Why would this happen? Just think about that question. You don't need to use the word God. Sometimes people, the word God, have too many, ideas, limiting ideas, from growing up or teaching, or people, a lot of people use the word God in ways I don't like. And so this word, for a while, I didn't like that word, God, because it felt like it was very limited, too small for what I was, what would have to start everything. So, maybe just drop the word God. You can call it anything you want. There are many names. Maybe it was the Gita. No, it's not the Gita, but somewhere else. I think it was in Vedic literature that, there are thousands or millions of names for God. I like Tao is a good one. Read the Tao Te Ching. They call it the Tao. And it's not anyway, you get the idea, right? Read the Tao Te Ching. It's a very different than say what you learned as God. But the main thing is you just think about that and just keep asking the question, how and why? Is there a design, an intelligence? Is a reason it all came or not? Because to me, even following the rules of science that they made, that they say, which is that something cannot come from nothing, and then they say the whole universe came from nothing. It doesn't make sense to me. It tells me they don't have the answer. They don't know. And then then you just think, why? Just seek truth. I think truth. You don't have to use the name God. If you just, instead of saying God, you can just say truth, highest truth. But I agree with Alan Watts. A lot of it is just ask the questions and in your heart really look for truth. And sometimes you might just have to say, I don't know. Right? Many things we just don't know. We're limited. We're limited. We can't know everything. And I think that's also fine. And that's also can be kind of magical. Because saying I don't know, it's like you're saying that there's a mystery there. Right? Where did it all come from? I don't know. Well, that's something a little magical. It brings a little magic back to the universe for me, because it's a mystery. It means there's something there beyond that my little mind can't understand. Something much, much, much bigger. What is that? I don't know. That's honest and true and also powerful. And I think there's purpose in there too. So that's my advice, is just look for truth and sincerely look for it. And you don't have to accept someone else's name for it. Lena says, I'm so happy for your baby boy. Oh, we are too. We're very, very excited to get him home. What Muhammad says, what does Dharma mean? Dharma means natural law. We're going to have a whole big show about Dharma when I do my interview. We are fasting, teacher. Please don't drink water, says Muhammad. But Muhammad, I am not fasting. So part of fasting is you have to be disciplined. So no disrespect to you, but sometimes I fast. I don't tell you not to eat. So do your best. And good luck to you, though. Fasting has great benefits. You know that I support fasting. Jose says, hello from Spain. We have a serious problem with socialism. Our last election was hacked by George Soros. When are they going to hang him? That's what I want to know. All right. Abde says, with natural law, everything is balanced. Everything physical goes back and forth in balanced cycles. Yeah, there is a kind of a circular thing in life, in many things in life, birth and death, old and young, big and small, etc. Yes, very Taoist, your comment. Rafiko says the ultimate purpose of life should be to transform yourself, including your influence, the people you influence. Transform in a positive way. It's also nice. Renato says, I don't understand how there are people that don't believe in God. If they don't believe in him, they believe they're nothing. God is simply busy with more important things. He gave us already all we need. Indeed, I think that the way to find that is to, again, just you got to keep asking those questions, Even, someone like Aristotle, I think it was Aristotle, who came the idea of, what is it called? The unmoved mover, right? The causeless cause. You go back, and you realize that what caused all of it? What caused everything? You can use the word God, or you don't have to use the word, but what caused everything? And then you'll say, well, what caused God? And then finally you have to realize that the cause, the first cause of everything, had no cause, was eternal, always. Never born, never dies. Anyway, that's at least logical. People asking me about politics. How do you think about the trade war between America and China? America will win. I'm not saying that because I'm American. I'm saying that because we don't have much to lose. We buy a lot more from China than they buy from us. So it's a very smart thing, and it's going to help America. Tony Robbins speaks about, right. Okay, well, this one comment already. Sorry, just reading through here, guys. A lot of comments. Okay, let me try to catch up. I'm kind of slow here. I need to go soon because I got to watch my baby. My wife has to go to sleep. I got to go. Just a few more, guys. Okay, so this is from George from New Zealand. Okay, let me see if I can pronounce your name. George, I'm just going to say George. Sorry. Susarat. I like and love your programs and videos. AJ, keep it up. Superb. George from New Zealand. Auckland. I can't do a New Zealand accent. New Zealand accents, to me, sound fairly close to Australian ones. I know there's a difference. I know that they would say, no, they're different. But I don't really hear the difference so much. Anyway. Thanks, George. That's nice. Okay, Taha, about goals. About goals. We must have goals. Otherwise, there's no taste for our lives. The feeling that you're here for a reason. When you wake up every day to reach your goal. That's what it means to me. If I have no goal, I have no life. And about questioning things in the world. I've questioned myself too many times. How the pharaohs built the pyramids. I have no answer and easily stop questioning. Lol. Laugh out loud. Yeah, right. Purpose, meaning, this is human nature. This is part of Dharma, I think. I think it's part of natural law. It seems to be something that makes us very different than animals. That we need meaning. We need purpose. You can see this through history. Just read books. And you will see that humans have been asking, searching for meaning, searching for purpose. There's something about us that is pulled to that. C.S. Lewis, who wrote Mere Christianity, he said he believes that's a sign of God, actually, that we are constantly searching for that higher purpose and meaning. Why? It doesn't make any sense for evolution, if it's just random and just survival, seeking that higher and higher and higher purpose and meaning. It doesn't. They'll try to give you reasons, but really for survival, no other animals need that to survive. So there's something else pulling that for us, something deep. And about the pyramids, it is fascinating. You should read the books of Graham Hancock about the pyramids because it's mind-blowing how advanced the pyramids of Egypt are. They are amazing. And when you read about it, you're like, how did they do all of that? How? It's not just lifting big, heavy rocks. That's only a small part of it. There's actually all the measurements and the alignment with stars and the calculations, the mathematics of it. It's really mind-blowing. It's amazing. We don't know. How did they do it? Nobody really knows. But it shows a very, very highly advanced civilization. Okay, a couple more. Rama says, I think most people find their purpose in life by the will of God, like what happened with me. I didn't discover my purpose until I had gone to college. I didn't have plans to join this college. It was hard at the beginning, but now I have a really big purpose. And because it's not just for me, but to help a lot of people. My first step is to learn English because it will help me a lot. That's a good point about in the beginning where you said, people, sometimes purpose finds you with the help of God, right? Christians call this grace. Grace. It's kind of like, you can do your part as much as you can, but sometimes it just seems to happen just by living your life, by looking for the truth, by doing the best you can. something unexpected happens and your purpose finds you. Very practical question from Brawa Shakur. How can we avoid negative thinking? I'm probably do a show about this whole topic someday, but there are little techniques you can use. One thing is you constantly fill your mind with positive thoughts. Focus on positive things, and it pushes out the negative stuff. When a negative thought comes up, change it to something positive. This is another reason that having a high purpose, an important purpose, is so good for you, because it's automatically, it's a positive thing that you think about all the time. Like when I started Effortless English, I started this business. I was thinking about the business all the time. Well, that means I did not have time to think about lots of other foolish stuff. It pushed out a lot of stuff. Kalan says, I can't thank you enough, AJ. By listening to you, my life got meaningful. Well, thank you. That's very nice. Thank you so much. And I agree with what Ibrahim Ali is saying. Purpose in life brings more joy than all the worldly goods money can buy. Yes. This is, again, the mistake of seeking just pleasure or money or power. They seem exciting, but they will not bring that great joy, that deep happiness that purpose will. If you have a strong, powerful purpose, even if you're poor, you'll feel happy. You will. I'm not saying be poor, but I'm saying that you need a purpose. If you're rich and you have a purpose, well, great. Now you have something to do with all that money that is meaningful. Rich without a purpose can be miserable. Okay, Vo says, today at work, I heard my coworker say his children will be at home for the whole summer. He's afraid nobody will take care of them because he has to work all day. Oh, that sucks. I'm 21. I don't want to be in his situation in the future. I don't want to work all day, meaningless. But I'm afraid to quit my internship because I'm afraid I cannot create my own business. I'm afraid I will fail. I don't know who to talk to. So sad. Accept the fear. You might fail. Yes, it's true. You might fail, but you need to do it anyway. Just do it. Accept that you will fail. Get started. Try your business. And if you fail, you will learn. So what do you do after that? If you try a business and it fails, and it might, what happens next? Well, you learn, and then you try again. Try another business. Or get a job. Okay? So don't put this wall in front of you like failure's the end of your life. Failure's the start. The first business I tried also failed. Do you think Einstein's theory is correct? I certainly am not qualified to analyze all of Einstein's theories. So I don't know is the correct answer for me. Okay, Bakir says, back to children. I have many friends of mine that think having children is a bad idea. Yeah, brainwashed like I was. I was brainwashed too. I understand it because they think it's all pleasure and fun and money and freedom. I mean, look at like the show Sex and the City. It shows that lifestyle, and it shows it to be incredibly fun. They're giving women this message that that's the great life. Sex with lots and lots of men, buying lots of shoes and clothes, living in the big city, parties. Woohoo! It is probably fun for young women when they're 25, and then they're 35. With no husband, no children, a boring, shitty corporate job, and they are lonely and miserable for the rest of their lives. All? No, but many. So it's a lie, that show. And of course, for men, it's a similar thing. So I know, I feel bad. It's one reason I talk about this topic, because I used to believe that too. And now I actually have the children. I know the reality. I know the real situation, and it's fantastic. Okay, you need to be ready for it, okay? It is true. You should be ready for it. So maybe it is good I waited, but they're fantastic, man. They're really fun. Kids are fun. Babies are fun. I like them. I like kids too. I have nephews and nieces who are older, and I have a great time with them. All right, let's see. Maybe one more here. Nice. Okay. All right. Who will get the last comment? Okay, now Trin's got a nice long comment here. We tend to give the best of our energy and attitude to other people outside, but spend the leftover for our own people. This is a good, very nice comment. Very good and true. That's why I decided to stop working in the gray, boring law office. It feels like I'm trying to help people achieve greed and envy when I'm working in that environment. So, the procedure to open a new business, trying to win a case, please the client, the boss loses his temper, gets angry. People working with no happiness. And then I went home and I had no energy for family or for a girlfriend. So I quit. I decided to become an English teacher like you. Today I'm doing lesson plans and putting positive quotes of you in pronunciation lessons. It makes me feel alive and exciting. Yes! Good comment. Excellent, excellent. This is why, by the way, work, doing meaningful work is so important. It's not just about the work. It's about your whole life, right? Because if you have a job, and lawyer is a good job, law office, lawyer, or just working in a law office in general, most people, that's a good job. It's very respectable. But if you hate it, if it feels like it's taking all your energy and happiness, then you go home and you don't have energy or happiness for your family, for your wife, for your husband, or for your children, or for your friends. Then it affects your whole life in a bad way. And the opposite is also true, like he's saying, that when you have a job that makes you feel positive and happy and alive, then that aliveness and happiness, you bring it home to everybody. So this is why work and financial independence and is very, very important, because it does. We spend a lot of time doing that, many of us, most of us. So great choice, and thank you for the very, very good comment. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to end with Alexi again. Actually, I've got two. I'm going to Alexi, then Vladislav, and then go. All right, two more. You guys are writing too many good comments, so it's hard for me to stop. Okay, here we go. Last two. Alexi says, in the gym area, there's a very popular quote, no pain, no gain. It means if you want to get a good muscle, you have to overcome the pain. Arnold had an interesting point, Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he was young, big guy. The last repeats in the exercise are the most important. It will decide if you are the champion or you are the loser. We ought to use this approach in our common life. Exactly. No pain, no gain. Arnold's right. It's at the end of the exercise, the most difficult ones, when you're the most tired. That's where you get the most benefit. when you're overcoming the most pain. That will produce the most strength, the most benefit. And that is a general idea for life, I think. That's right. Excellent, Alexei. Very good. And finally, Vladislav, about God, and I think this is a nice way to end it. Most people believe God is a man in the sky who watches us, sees everything, knows everything. And they believe this man, after death, will judge you. If you're a bad person, he will send you to hell. If you're good, then to heaven. But we can't prove that. And there is a problem. If there is really this man who knows everything, can everything, then why does evil exist? Either he is not unlimited, really, or he is mean. Maybe God is not what we imagine God is. Yeah, last sentence, I agree. Maybe God is not. I also, there is a simple, this is cartoon God, I would say, right? Cartoon idea of God is the man with the beard in the sky. That's super limited. It's a very cartoon, very limited idea of God. And I think this is why a lot of people don't like the word God, because they were taught this sort of idea. And it's ridiculous, is what it is. It's a ridiculous idea. It's so limited, it's so human and small. But we have to realize that maybe God is not what we imagine God is, not this cartoon we learned when we were young, maybe. That's, again, why it's important to read real philosophers and, people who have thought about God or about just meaning at a deep, deep, deep level, truly very, very, very intelligent people. And when you read those, it doesn't matter in all different religions, but when you find those deep, deep, deep philosophers and saints, none of them talk about this kind of cartoon God. It's something, the ideas are much, 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 much bigger and deeper and powerful. So I agree. I think that's what causes some people. But, what is it? I don't know, media. Where do we get this idea? Some of these movies, like, there's the movie where that old man plays God. It's kind of the comedy. What's the name of it? It's an old movie. Or even this Jim Carrey one, like, Evan Almighty. I get it. It's a comedy. But in it, there's just some black guy in a suit is God. And he's just kind of funny and foolish, kind of silly. And it's such a stupid idea, right? So the media gives us this ridiculous idea. And some people get this in their mind. And this is why they have a problem with that word. But you got to, open your mind more. Because it's, I agree. Vladislav, nice comment. And we're going to end there because this is a big topic and I've got to go take care of a baby and my wife has to go to bed. So, as always, lots of love to you. Remember, I will be. These are nice. We can ask these questions to Acharyaji when I interview him if we have time. I want to talk about natural law. That's our main topic. If we have time, you can ask him some questions and we can discuss some of these big issues. Like he does talk about God, and his explanations of God are quite amazing and beautiful and big, and nothing like that cartoon idea. But anyway, we'll be back with that. As always, follow me on Gab, send me a comment on Gab or on Twitter, AJ Hogue. And of course, join my VIP program, Commit, Don't Quit to my VIP program. Join, commit. Go to now, effortlessenglishclub.com, effortlessenglishclub.com. Commit, don't quit at effortlessenglishclub.com. Lots of love to you. See you next time.